Hey, it's me, Bobbert, and this is my retrospective review of Sonic Colors for the Nintendo Wii. I can't believe this game is already 10 years old, and with the remaster now out, does the original still has value? Let's find out. After the release of Sonic Unleashed, the fans' hope was risen thanks to the boost formula, and when they heard that Sonic Colors was going to use that gameplay, they were excited, then became a bit skeptical when they heard about the Rift power-up. During this time, fans were getting sick of these gimmicks. Almost 5 years before Sonic Colors release, Sonic has team gimmicks from Sonic Heroes, guns from Shadow the Hedgehog, tilt motion from Sonic and the Secret Rings, and of course the Railhog from Sonic Unleashed, as well as the sword from Sonic and the Black Knight. So you can understand why fans were so skeptical with this brand new gimmick that was on the horizon during that time. As for any betas and unused content, there were some cut audios and other stuff on Unseen 64, but nothing was talking about, at least to me. So let's get on to the actual gameplay. The game actually begins with gameplay with Sonic going through the first 2 acts of Tropical Resort. I remember some fans making a big deal out of this because they were getting sick and tired of cutscenes and exploring herb worlds at the beginning of the game. Personally, I don't care as long as the game is good, and in this case, it's a pretty nice introduction, even though they haven't introduced the Rift yet, and you can't really use any of the power-ups except for the right one, which is the Boost power-up. The basic part of the game is Sonic and Tails entering Eggman's amusement park because they suspect an evil plan, which is true. When they saw the aliens called Rift being attacked by Eggman's robot, Sonic's objective is to go out to each planet, save the Rift, defeat the boss, destroy the generator, and of course stop Eggman. Unlike Sonic games before this, the story was serious at times with some funny moments. Sometimes it gets a little bit too serious and dark, like in Sonic 06, which fans complained about and wanted more of a Saturday morning cartoon style of storytelling. Sega listened, and this is what we get. If Sonic 06 story is way too serious and dark, then Sonic Colors is the exact opposite, where everything is too goofy, which leads to some scenes being very unfunny at times, and sometimes the jokes can be too self-aware. Of course, this is just my personal opinion, but it feels like I'm the only one who didn't like the Barty McNose joke at the time. An example of a decent balance of jokes and seriousness is, well, you may completely disagree with me with this, but I think Sonic Boom Rising Lyric is a perfect balance of good storytelling with some seriousness and joke telling. It does have some decent funny moments, and stories make you feel like you're on an actual adventure, while in Sonic Colors it feels like the adventure is taken away from you. Gameplay is pretty simple. It's the second one to use the boost formula. It uses a homing attack to attack and introduces a double jump, which can be a bit floaty, but it works pretty well. The only real complaint is that sometimes when you're near an enemy, you can accidentally activate a homing attack rather than a double jump. Sonic moves pretty well, and it might take a few minutes to get used to the controls and everything, but for the most part, Sonic works very well. One of the most properly controlled 3D games in a while. The biggest addition in this game are the Rift power-ups. You unlock them one by one and give Sonic special temporary abilities. Here's some of my favorites and not so favorites. The drill power-up is my favorite, mainly because you can explore the levels a lot easier, especially in Sweet Mountain and Aquarium Park. Void is a bit crazy to handle, but pretty fun once you start growing and eating all the enemies and platforms. Laser is a nice idea, but they don't really execute it too well. You just ricochet off platforms and other stuff. Spike is okay. It's the only way Sonic can do a spin dash, but you can also climb up walls and stuff. Rocket is pretty basic, just fly up in the air and fall back down. Hover is the light speed dash, just fall to rings. And Cube changes platform. This power-up doesn't sound too interesting on paper, but the levels they design around it does make it a bit more interesting. Out of all the gimmicks in the past Sonic games, these are a nice addition at best. Most risk needs to be unlocked so you can go back and get the red rings, which is optional, but it does feel like you're padding out the game rather than, increasing its replay value. But to be fair, the reward is awesome, where you get to play as Super Sonic. I'm not a completionist, so I never get to play as Super Sonic. The levels are fine. There's really not much to talk about, mainly because most of the stages feels the same with different backgrounds, but they're pretty serviceable and they're all fun to go through the first time. Every act, you race through the levels, destroy enemies, and reach the goal. Some act has unique gimmicks, like the trampoline, destroying targets, avoiding spikes, but just like the rest power-ups, these stages are a nice distraction at best. All the worlds looks great and really nails the amusement park feel, except for Planet Risk, of course, which is under construction. Tropical Resort is a decent first world despite not having a lot of water, being a tropical setting and all. Sweet Mountain and Aquarium Park are great places to explore thanks to the draw power. Starlight Carnival is my favorite design level and wish this stage was in Sonic Generations. And Planet Risk is my least favorite, but it's still fine and better than its generation counterpart. My only complaint is, at least for me, is that the first act of each world are usually remembered, while the other acts are short and forgettable. But the stages still feels pretty good, but not as good as the first stage. There's also a Sonic Simulator where you can play as your Mii to unlock all the stages by collecting red rings in the regular game. The reward for getting all the Chaos Emeralds is playing as Super Sonic, which I didn't get because, as I said before, I'm not a completionist, but I am trying to get all the red rings and the Chaos Emerald in Sonic Colors Ultiimate. Right now, I'm mostly there. But in this version, in the Wii version, you can play as Homer Simpson or Waluigi, which is pretty amusing to me every time I play through that version. Boss battles are the easiest and quickest to defeat in the whole series. Sonic Team reuse each boss twice with small changes and thus being generous. The real boss are very quick to beat even without the risk power-up. Spaceship bosses are pretty fun, running towards it and dodging their attack, and the rest, which is just the captain stage, is okay. But the final boss is actually pretty good. Eggman using the rest power to attack Sonic, even combining them at some point, really makes it one of the most memorable boss fights in the whole series. I wish Sonic could have used the rest as well, fighting fire with fire, but for the most part, as it is, it's a pretty good final boss battle. After defeating the final boss, you play one more stage, but it's short and all you have to do is just jump in the middle. Not like the ending of Super Mario Odyssey, I can tell you that much. And then the game ends with the rest being free and going away forever, or at least it seems that way until they come back for no reason in future games like in Sonic Lost World and Sonic Forces. But anyways, on to my final thoughts.
Great job, Sonic.
Thanks, but I had a little help during that last part.
Playing Sonic Colors for the Nintendo Wii back when it came out in 2010 was a great experience and made me feel very excited for Sonic Future during that time. But replaying it now, I still find some enjoyment playing this game, but its flaws have become more noticeable during time. The story can be too cartoony at times, the gameplay is mostly solid and has decent replayability even though it feels a bit like padding. It may not be one of my favorite Sonic games back then, but I still recommend it. And usually this is the part where I go on to end the video, but with Sonic Colors Ultiimate out now, let me give a quick review on that. I played Sonic Colors Ultiimate on the Xbox One version, and the game is, at least from my experience, more or less the same fundamentally. There are some problems I encountered, but not as bad as people making it out to be. Just some freezes during gameplays, slow loading times, and a glitch here and there, but those are rare and the main game is still playable. Now, would I recommend it over the Wii version? Not really, especially if you still own that copy. I would say wait until the price drops. Should you wait until Sega patch the games? Yes, especially the Switch version. I hear that version is the worst out of them all. But is it the worst game since 06, Rise of the Lyric, or even Forces? At least that's how people are making it out to be. No, definitely not. Even though Sega should have higher standards in making Sonic games, especially if it's a port or remaster, it's not that bad, and I think the game is still enjoyable as it is. But I don't blame you for not buying this game day one. But I do recommend Sonic Colors Ultiimate for the most part. And that's my retrospective review of Sonic Colors. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Sonic Unleashed will be the last Sonic game for my retrospective series. Of course, that's not going to be until December or January, because I have 2 other retrospective coming in October and November. Hopefully, plans for going, pretty smooth. But Sonic Unleashed will be a little bit later, so thank you for your patience. I also do regular reviews, let's plays, and I'm going to try to get back into physics videos. I have one in the making right now, so stay tuned for that. This is me, Bobbert, and I catch you guys later.